First order of business is roll call. All members are present. We do have Phil Carter on Zoom. Second order on the agenda is we're going to open the recessed public hearing for Shaw's Supermarket. Is anyone here to speak on behalf of the Shaw's Supermarket or wishes to speak to this hearing? Okay. There was some new documentation that was received by the Planning and Zoning Office, and that was provided to the board in their packets for review. Basically outlines the current work progress and projections to date. Last one was received on
22nd.
the 2nd?
22nd.
22nd of this month. Does the board have any questions? Looks like they're moving along pretty smoothly with working on their phase for the floodproofing. So you were, if you wish to speak to this hearing, I got to swear you in, so you wish to speak to this hearing, sir?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. I make a motion that we recess Shaw's Supermarket until next month's meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Any hands up on Zoom, Jared? Nope. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Next on the agenda is we're going to open a new public hearing for Richard Votto. There was a packet of information that was sent to the Planning and Zoning Office, which was given to all the board members for review prior to this hearing. Go ahead, Jared.
This is application number sub 24-013. The applicant is Richard Votto, and the property owner is the same. Application is to subdivide two contiguously owned parcels into an 8-lot subdivision. This project is in the Mountain Recreation District. Hearing date is today, November 25th, 2024, 6 p.m. Public postings were at the town clerk's office, town hall bulletin boards on November 11th, 2024, and at the post office and town website on November 15th, 2024, and in the newspaper of record, the Vermont Journal, on October 23rd, 2024, and the abutting property owners were notified on October 25th, 2024. George.
Thanks, Jared. Is there anyone here who's to speak to this hearing tonight? If so, I do have to swear you in. Just raise your hand so I can make sure I see you guys. Is there anyone on Zoom with their hand raised? Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give relative to the matter now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury? I do. Okay. Step up to the podium and tell us your name and tell us about your project.
Hi, I'm Rich Votto. Is this on, or does it need to be on, or not necessary? It's on? Okay.
Yep.
I'm Rich Votto. The address in question, 698 West Hill in Ludlow. Upon review of the board, I would like to be granted this application. We've built other homes in the area, in fact, right in the backyard of this said parcel on Edelweiss Road. I've been a second homeowner up here for 20-something years. My first home was in Proctorsville. And I'll leave it open to any other questions or opposition at this time.
Does the board have any questions? So kind of starting off, I want to talk about your sketch plan review, which is probably from, we've got one large set and then we've got a small set. On the small set, you've got a page that's listed as preliminary that shows all of our kind of two different sheets we'll look at the same time. So one that's got the proposed buildings and kind of outlines the road and the lots, and then we've got the one with the well shields and the septic shields. So based off of looking at, starting at the well shields and septic shields, those overlap onto the properties of adjacent landowners.
Correct.
So typically, that's not something that the DRB allows, because that puts strain on your abutting landowners.
Okay.
So what are the possibilities of adjusting that to keep that within side?
Probably a negative influence on it. But what I found over on West Hill on my project there at 709 West Hill and 34 Smoke Rise was exactly the same situation, where the shielding overlapped. And that was permissible. I'm not sure because it was a 2-lot split versus 8 here, and that was an exception.
It's one of those things that we try to avoid, because as you put more well shields, I mean, some of the shields are pretty, we're talking significant amount of footage. This isn't like, oh, it's within that boundary of that setback area. That is a place where we've kind of made some exceptions on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
That's just one of the things that we saw that I saw that stood out as first.
I could speak to my engineer about it, and I don't know what the course of action here would be. What do you do? Table it and then?
Yeah. So anything that if the board requires additional information, you recess the hearing. But so being that you've been through the subdivision process before, this is kind of like your initial sketch plan review, right?
Correct.
And being that you have given us a sheet that has proposed development, this is not a building permit, but being that you've shown the intention of what the lot is for, right? If you look in under section Article 2, subdivision review procedures of sketch plans, under number 1, it lists all the things that are required on that sketch plan, which you have a lot of the things.
Can you cite that
Yep.
paragraph?
Yeah, so it's Article 2, subdivision review procedures, of which it's section 2.1, sketch plans, number 1, sketch plan application, and underneath that, it lists A through Juliet, basically the requirements for the sketch plan. And because you've brought forth a plan with proposed development, basically, this is under paragraph I. Location of proposed development, including building envelopes, streets, driveways, utility easements, related site improvements, and location of proposed open spaces, land to be held in common, and other features to be preserved. So that's where like you have your setbacks listed on your sketch plan. Does that make kind of sense? Probably similar to your other process. I'm not sure if you'd proposed development at that time when you'd previously done your uploads.
On the West Hill
Yeah,
project?
so unfortunately, you do have to stand at the mic so that everyone
I'm sorry.
can hear on Zoom.
On the West Hill project you're speaking of?
Well, I'm just trying to make sure that you understand the process of what the feedback that I'm giving you right now.
I understand. It's also not gospel at this time, correct?
There are potential ways to go around that. If you
Yep.
choose, we could have you come back when you want to pursue development.
Right.
So that is also another option. Other questions from the board?
My big one was the well shields, just because
Okay.
of the property lines.
Did you have anything, Phil?
Yeah, just to point out, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Can hear you very well.
Just to point out that with the well shields that are encumbering other people's lands, just to ask, have you approached any of your neighbors and they're aware of this?
Well, initially we sent out letters, correct, Jared? The zone.
Well, we sent out warning letters for this hearing.
That's
Oh.
just a warrant for the hearing.
Okay.
Are they aware that you're going to encumber their property?
I would guess no.
Well, one thing you might, I see 2 ways for you to resolve this, is either to get your well shields within your own,
Boundaries.
borders,
Yeah.
boundaries, or, get your neighbors to sign off that it's okay with them for you to, encumber their property. Because if the well shields are all in your lot, even though they're, going to, be on each other's lots, people buying into your project will understand that when they purchase
Understood.
But, you know, to go outside that is a different discussion. So I just wanted to make those 2 points.
The shield.
And, you know, as far as, you know, some history of well shields going over it, that's true in the past. We weren't as concerned about that, but issues in the course of the history of the DRB approving these types of projects with well shields outside the boundaries, we've come across some legal issues and even moral issues about it. So that's kind of where we're at.
I understand liability. So this was obviously an occurrence of somebody brought some action, and what something may have been permissible is not frowned upon. It's not a no, but I understand where you're coming from.
It leads to potential conflict down the road.
Sure.
Is because if you've encumbered someone else's property
on a drawing, basically. Yeah.
Well, is that when they, let's just say in the future, one of those neighbors, and that could be multiple years down the road, right?
Sure.
They come in for a development next door, right? Now that may end up adjusting if that permit's been issued with that will shield.
Sure.
So that's one of the things that we kind of always touch on.
Okay.
What else? Did you have anything else, Phil?
Not on this at this time. But I do want to talk, you know, we're going to talk about the stormwater plan.
Yeah, so we can go to that if you want, Phil.
I'll let you lead that discussion.
Okay.
George, do you think it's okay if I let Mr. Votto follow along with the
Sure, yeah.
regulations?
No, that's fine. Yeah. It's all public
Do you want
information.
Here.
to approach it?
Yes, please. So this is what George is referencing.
Yep. So that's a print. That's a printed copy.
Well, you can bring it back to the department when you're done. It's not that big, not like I can't replace it.
So we do have a wastewater system and potable water supply permit from the state. Just want to kind of walk us through what they've outlined for on the record.
You want me to walk you through?
Yeah, if you want to just tell us kind of vaguely what they've outlined for you, or kind of describe how that.
Regarding the septic systems.
Yep.
Is this what you're asking?
So wastewater systems,
Right.
potable water systems.
Right. Well, all this is, I don't know the extent of it. Obviously, I hired Jason Waysville engineer to bring this through to the state of Vermont. I obviously recorded it on the land records.
Okay.
And it's all certified and approved by the state out of Springfield.
And depicted on the maps are the locations and the designs, which I did see.
Correct.
So kind of the second part of that was, what Phil is let's talk about stormwater. So when it comes to developments, that's kind of a big thing, particularly being that you're up on the hill.
Yep.
You got a lot of stormwater coming from above, and then you got your own stormwater that's created on the property. So wasn't super depicted well on any of the designs that I saw. You kind of want to walk us through if you have some sort of plan for stormwater?
I submitted these plans. Do you have these?
Everything that you gave me, I gave to them.
Okay.
Maybe I just was looking at the wrong page.
Yeah, I
so-
think when you say it wasn't detailed, this is extremely detailed, so I guess we're not looking at the same thing here.
So which page are you looking at?
It's drawing number SW2. It's proposed stormwater details. And then also SW3.
So they should be in the larger set.
So I have a question, George.
Sure, go ahead, Phil.
So this plan was obviously engineered. Where's the stormwater going? Where's the water going? I mean, I can see the swale, I can see the matting, I can see the mulch, I can see the plant here. Where's the water?
No, I can look with John.
Into two culverts, each side of the proposed road, into Ron Tarble came up to speak with my contractor, Jeff Stearns, about where it's leading into the culvert that is bordering West Hill Road, across from Smoke Rise Road entrance.
So, you're saying that all the impervious surface that's going to be created here, this would include driveways, the road itself, the turnaround for the fire trucks, the roofs of the houses, the roofs of the garage, all that's gonna go into a culvert and go off-site.
That was the proposal from my engineer, that's correct.
And did your engineer stop the thing of where it's gonna go once it goes through that culvert?
Phil, I could only go with his computer-aided software that he deals with on a daily basis. He suggested that if the board deemed necessary, we would show an individual plan per each lot of the 8.
Well, let me go right to the point here.
I understand what you're saying.
Since the floods have occurred, FEMA and A&R is our new best friend in Ludlow. And the fact that, part of the mountain slid into the marketplace is also the town's concern. So water leaving a property, that's just been going on up on the mountain for years. Everybody just shuts their water off your property and away it goes. It's gotta go somewhere. So we've been trying to take more of a tact of, can it be retained on the site?
Mm-hmm.
Can your engineer come up with a plan that would actually retain water on the site and hold it there? And a number of projects are on the mountain have done this. Benson Chevrolet has done this. It's not an unheard of plan by any stretch to keep the water there. If your engineer doesn't know how to do it, he's not clear on it. He contacts Ted Reeves. Ted has done a number of these types of projects. Retaining water on the site. So that's what I have to say about that.
No, I mean, if he has the ability, or you guys have already thought of a on-lot basis plan, or at least a map, and sorry, I was looking at the wrong page there.
Okay.
That would be something that we're very interested to see.
Okay.
You've kind of outlined, the engineers of how a slope and how your entryway would look.
The landscape fabric on the slope, the measurements of the
Right.
topography and so forth.
To kind of look and see how that applies to the whole parcel, and kind of, if possible, to outline where each of those are kind of being used as a mitigation. As Phil, it kind of echoes what Phil said, is after the most recent flood, that
Of
has
course.
become a higher ticket item that we.
Of course.
Anything else from the board? Other questions?
So we're starting a list of what we are thinking about.
Oh, yeah. So you did speak with Ron Tarble, did I hear that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you apply for an access permit?
I believe I did.
Okay.
I
Did we?
I don't think I
I don't
have
have
one.
anything in there.
Okay, I didn't have one in the packet, so.
I may have reviewed it with him on site and then didn't follow through with that. I am
Okay, so that
uncertain.
will be something that you will need. as an
Pretty sure I did it, Jared. But we'll check the files.
Either way, we'll.
It'll exist if we did it, right?
Half the time, it's just paperwork probably sits on someone's desk.
Sure.
That's one of the kind of the checklist items that we like to see. Good that you've already talked with him, so it's in the, at least, even if it just needs.
It's in the
to be
works,
filled out, then
absolutely.
he's already told you how he wants it.
Yeah, and I don't know of his experience, maybe you could educate me, Phil, about the, back to the runoff, coming into a culvert and on what's necessary, but could you, being that he's not present, could you give me some indication of his experience on if he saw the site? Would he have offered some insight to me on what Phil just suggested or possibly recommended, that we want to retain some of the water on site?
I don't think that necessarily the on-site portion is under Ron's wheelhouse. I mean, his more is to the access of how your water is going to interact with the water that's in the ditch next to the road. And I know probably his biggest concern is that you're not going to be spilling tremendous amounts of water over onto the public road.
Exactly right.
But I can't speak for Ron and what each individual site might have in particular that he might find that is, but usually his area of expertise, at least what he regards to us in his letters and his access permits, deals with the access entry there.
Right.
Which I did see you have the drawing of what it's going to look like. But we just need his input on that access permit.
Okay. Okay.
What do you got next, Phil?
Well, those are my two main things. I don't mean to beat you up on this, but, these are true concerns with the town now about water.
I understand. I also
If
understand.
there's any way that we can keep it on site, have your engineers, talk to the engineers about it, and, that's what we're looking for, some type of catchment pond, to slow it down, keep as much as we can on these sites, because once we start looking at all the development on that mountain, and you know as well as we do how much is up there, if we don't start looking at these projects a little differently, then, the downhill impact just grows and grows. So that's kind of.
I understand and I appreciate your words. The pond thing, just as a very small developer, just speaks to me as dollar signs. That's.
They don't have to be a pond. It doesn't have to be a pond.
Yeah.
Talk to your engineer.
Right.
We did one on South Hill here a number of years ago. It was probably 15 feet diameter, but it was enough, and it worked. And the washout that used to occur below it never occurred again. So, I'm not an engineer, but these are engineering questions.
Absolutely. Thank you, Phil.
It doesn't have to be a big pond. It doesn't have to take up one of your lots. But it can exist. I know it can be done. It's been the Gia farm. It's done with those condos up there. There's a number of
On
places.
Westwoods?
I think it's Westwoods. Yeah.
As soon as you turn on
They have
gear?
a retention pond there for their stormwater control. So these projects have been done. They work as long as they're kept clean. They can be cleaned out every now and then, but they work, and they don't have to be huge. So
That one across from South Face, I'm sure that is a pond for that whole development, is that correct? The one across
I
from,
don't recall it. I don't remember
No?
specifically on that project. Maybe Julie or John might recall. They were involved in that permitting process, but I don't.
It was
There's at least one of them I don't recall.
I know there's at least one, but I don't know if that's the one that he's referencing.
not that large for the size development, that was gonna be my point. It must be it, because it's right across from the entrance.
No, it probably is.
So while we're still talking about layout, I want like a little clarification for the record. So on these maps, it sort of depicts that you have a T turnaround at the
Yes.
end. Okay. I just wanted to, because based off of what we'll say, the one that's got the proposed developments that shows the 50-foot wide roadway doesn't have it depicted, but like on L4 drawing, it does have it depicted, so that
see.
is the plan. Okay. And that's gonna tie into our to serve letters. Did you read through those that you did receive?
I'm not sure, the letters
So
speaking
one
of.
second, we can go over those together. So starting with the Ludlow Fire Department.
Oh, yes, those
Yep,
letters.
Okay, yep. So where it says road and access shall be compliant with the state adopted NFPA 1 for the your roads and turnarounds. Okay, and that meets that that meets
Yes.
those compliance. Okay. So the next thing just is I always like to read these out for on the record. So that hardwired photovoltaic or UL 217 smoke and carbon monoxide detectors shall be installed on each floor of all occupied buildings and within 20 feet of each bedroom, including the basement. Additional hardwire photovoltaic or UL 217 smoke detectors shall be installed within each bedroom. Hardwired carbon monoxide detection shall be installed with each bedroom with a fuel burning appliance. All bedrooms and living spaces shall have a primary and secondary means of escape in compliance with the state adopted edition of NFPA 101 and the Vermont State Building Code. Some of these obviously don't apply to all of this, but the conditions that they list will be part of any permit issued. The 911 address for all buildings shall be clearly visible and identifiable from the roadway. Any building that is intended to be used as a public building in accordance with 20 VSA 173 shall be permitted by the Vermont Division of Fire and Safety to meet all code requirements of the state adopted edition of NFPA 101 and the Vermont Fire and Building Safety Code prior to construction. Attached garages shall have a UL listed 1 hour fire rated wall between the garage and living space. Going on to the ambulance. Let's see here. They also request that all parcels be numbered in according to the E911 standards with reflective numbering visible from the roadway. They talk about the turnaround, which we just previously talked about. And the police had no conditions. Okay, so you understand all those?
Of course.
Board members have any other questions? Do you have anything else, Phil?
No, I caused enough trouble already.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
What the next course of action of the meeting is not adjourned yet, I understand, but assuming it is, I will speak with the engineer regarding the shielding and the water retention. But as far as when we leave tonight, what is submitted to me or to the town record?
So you've got a couple options. One, we recess the hearing. You talk to your engineer, you bring us back what you got, and we can provide you feedback on this initial sketch. That would probably give you the best opportunity for a final plot submission without having to make huge changes, particularly being we brought forth a couple things that might change how your development is proposed. That's usually the recommendation.
Without a hearing schedule, just talk to bring it into the zoning office you're indicating.
So if you recess this hearing, and let's say, so the next hearing option would be in December.
Okay.
And if you said, hey, I can have all my stuff by then, we
Right.
can recess it to then. If for some reason you don't think that's enough time, we can put it to any particular time.
Sure.
When it comes to a project of this size, and being that we're not just waiting on one particular item, and I think it would be the behest of the board to give you the feedback based off of any changes that you are able to work out or talk with that engineer and give us back that feedback. An option is you could request that the hearing be recessed to a particular date if you thought you could submit all that information, and then we would not have another open hearing. So basically, you have the options of, we can meet next month, we can recess this hearing, and you can bring forth all that information. Or if you feel that you have the ability to make all those changes and submit that, and you don't want to have that feedback from us, we can make that decision with a closed hearing at a separate date. So those are options that are available.
Okay.
Try to be upfront about it.
Sure, I appreciate it.
What's the date of our next meeting?
The next DRB hearing is scheduled for December 9th. It's a Monday evening.
No
It's
good, no.
only a
Not
couple of
enough
weeks
time.
away.
So,
January meeting is,
so what would be our January meeting
I think
day?
it's January 13th, the second Monday of the month.
it seems more feasible.
That seems pretty feasible. Is that something that you're able to accommodate, you think?
I believe so.
Okay.
Of course, I still want to discuss it with him, and then I could discuss it with you, Jared, as far as scheduling,
Yep,
getting
and
it under the
if-
wire.
If you have any questions, feel free to stop down at the zoning office.
Yep.
And he can kind of help you, walk you through
Yes.
any of those requirements. I mean, probably, but he did give you the copy to borrow of the subdivision
Yes.
regs there. And that will hopefully answer a lot of the questions.
Sure.
And take the feedback that we gave you tonight. Now, there was someone else, I believe it's you raised your hand. Do you have any comments or questions? Okay, we'll give you your opportunity. Come on up and tell us your name at the podium.
Sure. Here, I'll give you this first. It's a letter from some of the residents who are next to this property.
Okay.
It's long. I'll
Okay.
Go through the-
You want to pass this to Jared? We'll put that, had that been submitted to the planning and zoning office yet?
no, it is not. It's the
Okay.
first time.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. Start with your name just for the record.
Joe Tito.
Okay.
So yeah, we live at 13 Edelweiss Road. We've written this letter in conjunction with a couple of the other folks that are on this call who live at 5 and 31 Edelweiss. We have some concerns about what's being proposed next to our
Can
property.
you speak up?
I know, just like
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Not a public speaker. We did receive a certified mail from Rich. The map provided, we feel, was inadequate. It was so small and couldn't read it. Like, the legend was so tiny, like you can't even make out what the map is and what it represents. So we feel inadequately informed about how this is going to impact our properties. One of the residents at 5 Edelweiss, John, also just received his notification less than a month ago and did not receive a map of the proposed changes. So more, we feel uninformed. We have concerns about our well's safety and its ability to produce water. The well that we have a single well that services 3 homes, 5, 13, and 31 Edelweiss. So we have concerns that the number of new septic systems being built in close proximity to and uphill from our well will affect its safety and ability to produce water for our 3 homes. Also, because of the overlapping proposed isolation shields that you guys were mentioning, we have concerns that if there are issues with our well, that we won't have area on our own properties to build additional wells. There's also a natural stream or culvert that goes between our property and our properties and the proposed building site. Just runoff from the mountain and snow and rain. So we have concern that additional building uphill from us is going to increase the water flow throughout the back of our properties. A lot of water already comes through our backyards. It is already damp and saturated, and multiple of our homes have already experienced flooding issues. So we have a lot of concerns about additional building being done uphill from us.
So just as a clarification, so you border along which of the, you listing? So I've got,
Edelweiss.
I just want to make sure we recognize which properties that you're talking about.
Sure.
Can you point out can you come up here and just point out which ones you're talking about? I'm pretty sure that you're in this line here, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, these 3 tiny ones.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, 5, 13, and 13.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure I make sure I'm looking at the right one, so.
Yep, it's the super tiny ones. So yeah, I guess our properties were grandfathered into being undersized lots.
Yep, so it's a previously non-conforming lot that
Yep.
was before zoning.
So yeah, anything that overlaps with our property has like serious consequences on us because it seriously limits what we're able to do with our lot. If we ever need to move a septic system or install a new well, having any sort of isolation zone that overlaps with our property just makes our life more difficult or could be impossible to install a new well or fix a septic system. We have obvious concerns about the excessive construction noise and traffic. We've seen the building progress made by this builder over the last couple of years, and it seems to be about 1 house built per year, and that would result in about 8 years of construction noise if, judging from previous timelines. We also have concerns about the loss of privacy. Our 3 homes in particular have always had a great deal of privacy in the backyard. It was part of why we bought these homes and part of the value of our homes. So removing this natural privacy may devalue our properties. And then a couple of us, including my wife and I, are almost half-time residents here and plan to transition to full-time residents next year. So all of the noise and concerns will have a very large impact on our daily lives and our home.
So looking at the map where your guys' 3 lots are, it looks like there is a stone wall that is where the boundary is.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, and is there trees on both sides of the stone wall?
I believe they're only on the opposite side,
So
not on our property.
not on your property? Okay.
George?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just looking at the same map. Are the lots that you're referring to, number 58, 59, and 60?
Yeah, so 58, 59, 60, yes. Those three very tiny lots. And if you look at the, let's see, would be, in the small packet, it's second page after that, it does show the boundary lines with each name of the owners there, where it has the depicted stone wall that I referenced. Yep, I had him just double point that I was out on the map, so I was making sure we were 100% talking about the same lots.
Yeah, we've never done a survey of our lot, so I don't know if the stone wall is our property or his property. You probably know better than us right now.
I'm going off a drawing. I did drive by the site, but obviously I didn't go and walk the property.
You're welcome.
But based off of the drawing that we have in front of us, looks like that stone wall more or less is give or take the boundary line. That's why I was just asking about the trees.
Sure.
Any other concerns that we can hear from you, and then I'll give Mr. Votto a chance to maybe.
Did I miss anything?
Does anyone have any other questions for this gentleman?
I don't think
Is there a hand up there? Sorry. No.
So you said there's a stream, or there's water that flows in between the properties? Is that what I heard you say?
Correct. So that stone wall, on our side of the stone wall, there's a stream that runs along it.
And is it the length of the stone wall, or does it continue all the way through lot 61, lot 19?
I know it goes through 5, 13, and 31 Edelweiss. I don't know where it goes above that, but it's a culvert stream. I don't know what you technically call it. When it rains really heavy, there's a big stream of water in our backyard. In the winter, there's lots of water flowing throughout the backyard as well.
You said you had the little maps and they were hard to read. You want my bigger ones?
Pardon me, I'm sorry?
You said you had the little maps and they were hard to read. Do you want my bigger ones?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get one.
I have an extra set anyway. I can always print more out.
Yep.
You can share if you need anything on mine. I'll share everything.
Any other questions for us before?
No, the letter also includes some things that, as things go forward, just some ideas we have of ways to mitigate our concerns. We don't have to go through them here because probably a long way from it, but
No, that's
yeah,
okay.
we've stated those as well.
That letter will be entered into evidence, and it will be distributed to all the members for review.
Okay, perfect.
But thank you. We very much appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Do you have any rebuttal to anything he said, or any questions or comments at this time?
I'd like a copy of the letter, if I may.
Sure, we can make that happen.
Okay.
Talk with Jared, and he
Okay.
can get you a copy.
That's fine.
Being that was just submitted into evidence.
Understood.
We don't have we haven't had the
You
opportunity.
don't have a copy machine. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Here we go.
My name is Rich Vaught, by the way. Please let me get hot. To retort them both, first time we're meeting, I've been on Edelweiss quite a few years. You probably know this. Regarding construction noise, regarding property values, our experience is in real estate, so I would only think the way the property values increased such the way they did thus far since the pandemic, I would say we're all very grateful for that. I'll let the DRB take it from there, but I just want to say that we're looking out for everyone to improve in values and the area. Will further development lower values? My opinion, no. It may do the opposite, I would hope, with brand new homes of the quality that you've seen happen in Edelweiss and West Hill. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. And I don't believe there was anyone else that was sworn in, but we will open it up if someone wishes to speak. I see there had some people join us since then. I can swear additional people in.
Anybody?
Any hands up here? Okay.
I'll make a motion to recess this hearing until January 13th, is that what I heard?
That was the date?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
Are we going to talk about the laundry list of what we want to have
We can.
in the motion? I just
We can do that in the discussion, or do we want to give that to Jared and then he can pass that along? Do you have a list going right now?
I just feel like usually when we recess a hearing, we say this is
Sure,
the three
yeah,
things we
go ahead and-
wanted.
yeah.
Well, I just want to ask if it's okay in your motion, that the number one would be the well shields to be contained on the property line, hopefully on the lot lines, but that might not be able to be happen. On lots, stormwater, and the access permits. For the,
Okay.
those would be my three requests so far.
The sketch plan to kind of add to those lists,
Yes.
to kind of outline some of the things that weren't talked about, like utility easements, kind of what I'd outlined. You have that document which outlines those things in there. The proposed areas of such, but Jared can kind of lead you through that. Anything else you want to add into the discussion?
I didn't have anything else. Did Phil have anything?
Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that list of things we're looking for, Phil?
Not at this time, but I would advise the applicant that, I think the way to go would be to recess this hearing.
Yep, so that's the motion that has been seconded until January.
Because we're going to be seeing some new engineering work
Yep,
dealing with well shields, two people pointed out, and the stormwater.
okay,
We'll want to discuss those.
okay,
We'll want to discuss those new plans.
okay.
I agree.
And have Rich or his engineer, if he shows up, to be able to clarify things and so we get a good picture of what's going on.
Okay, sounds good. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
The other guy wants something that kept raising his hand.
Oh, was there someone raising their
He hasn't been
So,
sworn in.
1 second, I will swear you in, sir. Look to the right page. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give relative to the matter now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Okay, tell us your name for the record, sir.
My name is Timothy Collins. I'm the owner at 31 Hillways. My property is, there's three small properties and there's my property. So a lot of this work is going on just behind my property. And I lived in, I've had this property for, since 2003. I love the street, love the people, all the folks and things. Of course, when there's new building, there's always a concern that they'll treat it as well as the people that have lived there for so long have. And one confusion I have, looking at a map here that I believe depicts the leach fields, it seems like this leach field is actually, it's kind of taking a part of my property, which maybe it's a misunderstanding, but I have a concern because we not only have our own, septic, but we also have a well that is actually very close to where these houses are being built. So I guess I'd like some clarity with that.
Yeah, so can you tell us which page you're looking at, just so the board can also look at the same page?
It's the one, hi, this is Jennifer Collins. It's the one that has
She hasn't been sworn in.
our
George.
property is, if you're
George,
looking at
she
the
hasn't been sworn in.
map or the
Oh,
legend.
so ma'am, so you also have to be sworn in? So,
Oh, yeah, she had just walked in. I'm sorry, sir.
She needs to be sworn in.
yep, so we got to swear you in as well, ma'am. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give relative to the matter now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under pains and penalties of perjury? I do.
I do.
Okay, and what was your name for the record, ma'am?
It's Jennifer Collins.
Jennifer Collins. Okay, thank you. So what were you saying?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the map that has in the direction where the legend where it says Waysville Engineering is in the bottom left orientation.
So we're looking at drawing numbers. Are you looking?
Drawing numbers?
So in the bottom would be.
I don't think she's got this one. I think she has the old one.
It's
So under where it says Wayville Engineering, there's a box that says drawing number. Is that
52? It kind of once you.
is that L2?
It's on there.
It's a little blurry.
Probably the one with all the
Oh, okay. So it's just the whale shield one. Okay.
Which is that one? Oh, that's the, I get it.
So that would correspond with this lot.
George, could I approach and look at where you're?
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Sure. So that it is this. These are. Yep. And so depicting that's based off of lot 2. This is lot 2. So they're talking about these two well shields.
They were talking about leaching fields.
Leach fields. Sorry.
Which this indicates the leach field here.
Okay. So we'll just see here. We've got. So this is a well shield, and then this is another well shield. So it's just the well shields that are depicted on their property. And so let me just look at lot 2 on here. Here's a different page. Yeah, so here's your leach
Yeah,
field.
Mr. Collins, that doesn't appear to be the case. It's more close to the center of the proposal. Could you hear me all right? No, there's not.
So
Are you speaking to us?
So no, he was looking at the map just so he could reference. So based off the map that we have provided, the two areas that would currently as proposed that would go over your property are 2 well shields. And we talked about that. I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the meeting. We had talked about that as a concern of the Development Review Board, to try to bring those within the boundary of the property that is being for potential subdivision.
Yeah, as my husband was saying, our property is like the 4th one in from the bottom where the field is depicted on our property line, and our well is towards the upper edge of our property, and it's a real concern if there's
Yeah, it's so depicted on the preliminary page, which has your property, which is basically the sketch plan for the project, where it lists you as an abutter. I believe that this is the well your well that's being referenced that's very close to the existing property line. It's on this page here. So I think that's what you're referencing.
I don't actually see our well listed on here. I see the one that the 3 properties share. We have our own well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I don't see it on here.
Okay, so that's a different well of the schedule.
Our 3 properties well is on that property.
Okay. So, that makes more sense.
Do they have their own also? Do they have solely their own as well?
And there's also a concern because that well doesn't always stay wet.
Okay. Okay.
There are times when that well goes dry. There's also times when the well at my sister's property, which is adjacent to my property, also goes dry. So as far as
She has a lot more trouble with it than we do because it does a problem, yes.
yeah, so just as new homes are designed, we want to make sure that the other homes have water.
Understood. Back to my question, do three of them served by one, or three of them are served by two wells?
Our 3 homes are served by 1 well.
3 of the houses are served by 1 well. My house is served by a well that's not depicted on this map. And, yeah.
And then his sister has the one that abuts just past our property. She has her own well.
Is that
the adjacent property, I believe.
is that the Francis and Heather Mantry?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my sister-in-law.
I apologize, I'm still confused. If you may clarify, both of your Edelweiss residents. 3 homes are served by 1, but then you have your own. Is that Collins?
That is the correct, what they've described. So that is the.
So the Collins are served by 2 wells?
Nope, so that there's 2
Oh,
wells.
their 4th one up?
So if you want to
Sure.
come here, I'll show you on the map where we're talking about. So this is the gentleman who just spoke. This is his property. This well here serves these 3 properties. He has a separate well that only serves his house.
I
That's
see, but
not
those 3 are on his.
The well is located on that property.
Understood.
So sorry about the confusion. Okay. Any other?
And then the main trees have another well
Okay.
that serves their property.
Okay.
What number are they on Edelweiss?
It's 39,
39 away.
that's right.
Okay.
And their well at this point goes dry at least once a winter, sometimes twice. So there's already kind of an issue there that we wouldn't want to exacerbate. In fact, if there's building and things going on, we probably want to make that situation better for everybody, if anything, you know?
I understand.
Do you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
No problem. Were you part of the group that submitted the letter with the other gentleman?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. No, I just want to make sure that if
I may have gotten the wrong address.
okay. No, I just want to make sure that if an abutter has concerns that we receive, verbal is good, written is better. Being that we didn't have time to review your letter yet, I just want to make sure that if they were not part of that they had submitted a letter.
I think I may have incorrectly spoke. I think 31 is the Collins' address, and there's one additional home in between theirs and Patrick on the call.
Connelly? Yeah, Patrick and Jennifer. Yeah, so that's in between. So that's in between your guys's.
Conley.
Okay. Is there any other comments or questions during this discussion? Any hands up there? Okay, any board members?
No, we have a
Okay.
motion.
So we still have the motion on the table, which just is being it's been a hot minute, was to recess this until the January meeting, which was first and seconded. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
George, for point of clarification, the abutting property owners will be notified of this hearing also. Will they get any more information before
We don't
January
usually
13th?
notify on
I just want to make sure they
recesses.
know that they're here.
I think anybody's more than welcome to come in and see if there's any public
I just
information
wanna make sure they knew
available.
that.
So you can come to the zoning department and see if anything's been submitted.
Next is
Want to
minutes.
hang on to that? What's that? Want to hang on to that? Sure.
I only have one correction in the whole thing. Does anybody have anything?
No.
Yep, we're going to talk about this. Next is minutes. What does everyone have for?
George, I only have one correction on page 3. Does anybody have anything before that?
Yep, so on page 2.
Okay, tell me.
Under number 3, number 2, so it says recess this hearing until February 2024. That should be November 2024. It's second line on number 2 of number 3 there.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. And then you had one.
Well, just a very typo, number 19, George Tucker Jr. said the board has a couple of options if you can the access. I think you may provide the access permit. So that's just because it doesn't sound.
Okay. Does anyone have any other corrections to the minutes?
I make a motion, we
Or just,
accept.
Phil, you might be on mute.
I'm sorry, I have another one on page 3.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
so. I haven't-
For Genwell, on number 10. So we talked about the night sky lighting that is downward facing.
Yep.
I just wanted to say that Sam said that he would address this and fix that. And we said, you know, he can still have safety lights.
Yep.
But,
So that,
those big spotlights, he would,
Yeah, he said that for you.
okay.
he would fix it so they weren't shining into neighbors' houses.
I do.
So Sam McCoy.
I can do your great motion.
Okay. Anything else on the minutes?
Page 4,
Okay.
under the
Really good at it.
Stacy Malecki
Yep.
thing number 10.
Okay.
Bob Malecki said not at all. He said the fire marshal was there. Bob Malecki said no.
Oh,
Was he asking, what does this mean?
So, okay, so I think number 10 is.
oh, he said.
He
yeah,
said he didn't
He
mind.
didn't mind having the fire.
Yeah.
Inspection.
Yeah. So you said the number 9, you'd asked if available for the fire chief
Oh,
inspection
that's
of the units. And then he answers,
Not at all.
not at all. He said the fire marshal was there, so it had done an inspection. And then, I don't know, Bob Malecki said no.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I don't,
Bob Malecki said no.
yeah, that's the part I don't know what that goes to, because then the next part makes sense. They have no intention of renting. They will come here for 5 months out of the year. So I think if we just strike the Bob Malecki said no,
That sentence.
that 4-word sentence, that then it would make sense. What do you think, Phil?
Okay.
Anything else? Did you have anything else, Phil?
No, I'm all set.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes
It's correct.
as corrected.
I'll second that. Dr. Gill.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So next, just under some other business, kind of a matter of some documentation. What did you say, Jared, that it was received today?
Today.
Today,
Not
okay.
too long ago.
So about the Mill Association, kind of as an update there for everyone to review. You said you had something, John? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, misunderstood. I should say. Oh, yeah, nope, is that we did receive some documentation that was given to the planning office today and was provided to the
Today is
members
Christmas.
for review. Anything else under other business? I make a motion that we close tonight's hearing.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much, folks, for coming.